deep cleaning just took on a whole new meaning. Come join us as we continue to convert our 2006 Bluebird All-American. This time we are scrubbing floors right down to the metal, scrubbing and cleaning the windows and getting those ready for their new sealants, getting the floor prepped for its new sealant. It is a very clean and dirty time here in the school bus. The last couple of days been working on cleaning up, getting the surface rust cleaned off with a wire brush here. So this is some of it that has been cleaned, the rest that is still yet to be brushed off. And I'll show you what I've been using to get this cleaned up. It's been a braided wire brush on a oversized grinder here. Don't know the technical term for this size of one, but a little bit bigger than your typical disc grinder, and then using that to brush off any bits of wood that's still stuck to it or rusted to it, chunks of metal that have corroded and become rust piles. So starting to look a lot better. Obviously there's still the markings from where the rust was, but it is looking like more and more like proper metal. And so got all the insulation and everything cleaned off of the engine cover. There's insulation stuck and almost as if it had been glued to some degree. So got all that cleaned off. Still not sure what I'm going to do for insulation over the engine bay, if we're going to put down a layer of heat protective and then do spray foam or the hard polystyrene. My dad also recommended using a rock wool, not the Havelock, not the sheep wool, but rock wool that's actually made out of crushed rock, one of the most fire resistant insulations. So we could use that because the regular insulation here, whether it's a glass or fiberglass, is quite fire resistant. The spray foam or polystyrene, I need to find out exactly how much that is as far as heat resistant. So may just go with the rock wool anyway, just because it's a much better fire resistant. So we're going to look into that a little bit more, and once we get to that stage, we'll install whichever option we end up going with. And then as well, went and brought the bus, got a day pass, a day permit of insurance, and went and got the bus weighed so that we had a true weight to start with of the bus being completely empty and no extra weight. Had half a tank of diesel and nothing except the driver's seat and driver's station still intact. Everything else that needed to be removed outside of this bit of rust, it has been removed. And so I didn't think that bit of rust would make a big difference. So went and got the bus weighed, and we are in great shape as far as how much more weight we can put on. Trying to think off the top of my head, I think we were about 9,300 kilograms. So about just about around 9.25 ton dry. And so the max capacity of this is over 16 ton. So we've got a safe 7 tons to work with, and minus some of the fresh water and everything like that. And then obviously round down to make sure that we are at a safe limit, not maxing that out and trying to push our safety and legality. So that was really cool to get that weight done, and to mark the point of going, everything that needs to be removed is been removed, cleaning up a bit so that we can start the new applications. And it is exciting to be at that point of everything's removed, and gonna take out the driver's station and get that little spot finished off now that I'm not going to be driving it for the duration of the build. Just finished cleaning up the surface rust on the main part of the bus in the back, in the living areas, and then started getting the driver's station taken apart here. Got the driver's seat removed. That was a little bit tricky. Had to grind a couple of the bolts. Was able to get one undone by connecting on the bottom end. The last one ended up stripping on the head I wasn't able to get it tight enough on the bottom to hold. And so it was the furthest one in, so I couldn't get a grinder or any kind of saw in there to get that bolt out of the way. Ended up having to pry the washer and really pry that through the bolt head, and then even the bolt head wiggled through the base of the seat. And so there's plenty of other anchor points that I'll be able to reuse a different anchor point from the driver's seat base. So I didn't feel too bad about leveraging and kind of being a bit more forceful with that. Got everything started for removing the driver's floor. I just need to go tomorrow and disconnect the heater unit from the bottom underneath, and then also the driver's the brake and gas pedal. The brake pedal is connected to the air system, so I don't want to pull that too hard. It's not moving too much, so I need to go underneath, see what can be loosened off so that I can hang the pedals up a little bit so they're out of the way, and then that should be clear to finish off getting the floor for the driver's area. Then I'll be able to clean all the rust and everything off of this area so that we can, waiting on my OSB subflooring. So depending on when that's going to be showing up, I'll either start getting the floor sealed and ready for all the insulation subflooring, or we'll start tackling the windows. I have been working away at the driver's station here still. I was able to get the seat out, and then I was able to go underneath and disconnect the heater box. It had coolant lines that came from the live line. I had a T coming up to the box and then coming back down and into the system. And so I was able to completely remove that and insert a connection, a straight connection from a piece that was inside the bus. I may have to find something later to connect that whole length through. However, I was able to use that connection so that this could be closed up in this area of the coolant, because it goes underneath the bus to the other corner, the passenger's front corner, to fuel the heater system for the defrost in the front core area here. Just over on that side. And so I wanted to leave that intact and not have to go underneath anymore. So that I connected that back up and then started removing all the plywood from the driver's section here. While I was under there, also checked the brake connection, because that is the air lines coming in and the air module and all of that for the braking. And there's not a lot of extra space to elevate it. And so I was able to pull up the pedals and the bracket that hold the pedals and kind of elevate it as far as I could and get all the plywood out from underneath that area. When it does come time to install the new flooring, I'll probably have to shave down a little bit of the flooring in that area, just because I've got about 1.5 inches total, and I've got 1.5 inches insulation for this section, then plus a 3/4 inch OSB. So I'm probably going to shave down or modify just that area versus taking the entire driver's area to be 1.5 inches total. And so that will be just fine with the pedals being able to reach and everything. And then the other part of this driver section on the Bluebird All-American, it's got the side console here and runs down, and then this flooring was installed before this, because this flooring was put and there's screws going into the floor just like is normal on all the perimeter, but the perimeter is underneath this bracket because it goes under about 1.5 inches or so past. And so that's where it's not just pulling out and sliding out from underneath, because it has been anchored in. And so working a way to figure out how to get that out. Behind this box is the electrical system, and so I'm not going to be touching that to try to remove this panel and elevate it. I'm going to be just doing the best I can to get all of this out and cleaned out. Hopefully I'll be able to bust the wood out in between the screws, and then where the screws are that'll be loose and broken up enough that I can get that out as well. So that's what is happening here with the driver's area, and the brake lines. The heater was quite simple to get that out of the way, and the rest of this, even around the driver's the steering column, the wood was encasing that, so I just drilled through and busted that small section of wood out that goes behind, so that the wood could just slide out once it was removed from the flooring here. The last few days have been filled with getting some of these windows completed, pulling them out, cleaning them up, and getting them the initial stages of resealing. I've been doing butyl tape liner on the bottom edge and the two side edges of the window. And then I'm going to be doing a final sealant with the Sikaflex 291, which is a marine grade above and below the water surface sealant that boats use for their windows and hatches and different things. So I know numerous people, I think Isaac Turner highly recommends this as well, but numerous others that say that this is a great product. So I'm going to do a line of that around the outside perimeter of each window as well. I did a test with the windows that have been installed just with the butyl tape so far, and that's where I had very minimal leakage. There was one spot on one of the first windows that could have had a little extra tape in one of the corners, and so having the second system of sealant will definitely help to make sure everything is complete there. And so was completely removing all the paint, getting it down as close to metal as I could around the windows, making sure all the glue and previous sealants were off of the window frames themselves, and then did a primer just to get it clean and all uniform. Butyl tape or the Sikaflex, depending on who you talk to, doesn't completely recommend or require a primer, but I figure it's just a nice uniform, even surface to be able to start from. And then actually, from what I've found, the Sikaflex seals very well to the butyl tape. So that's going to be a great seal once I do that final round. So then it's going to be completely waterproof from the outside. The only other aspect, especially with the original bus windows that I know not everybody recommends, but we're going with it, is then the humidity and the moisture from the inside of the bus. So one thing is keeping the moisture out from outside. The other thing is, what do you do with the moisture inside? And again, one thing is keeping the humidity to a minimum. We're going to be all electric, so that's one thing, of no propane stove, but then also making sure that we have great ventilation with some, we'll probably be putting some Air Max vents in for sure by the shower, another one in the main area, and being able to have some good airflow and circulation. We'll have a mini split, so we'll be able to do some dehumidification with that, and just making sure that we're on top of and monitoring the humidity within the bus. So that's one thing that we want to make sure, even if the water stays out, it doesn't go inside in between the exterior shell and the spray foam insulation. We also want to make sure that no moisture from inside is going in between our wall paneling and the spray foam insulation. So that's something that we want to make sure that there's a good system or plan on both sides. And so with the original windows, that's going to be our plan of attack. And as well, we're going to be staying in as warm and hot climates. We'll have heat inside the bus, make sure the bus is nice and hot. We prefer it that way. So that's something that helps to keep that humidity and the moisture down, is keeping your bus warm, and warmer than just bearable, but actually having a nice, comfortable, hot heat. And so that's what I've been working on. And then while I was waiting to run into town to get some more brushes and everything to continue on the windows, started getting some of the floor insulation panels cut down, because they're 8-foot sheets. I'm 7'6" inside on the bottom. Had to go 7 foot 5.5 inches just to get it past the seat rail. And so just getting those panels pre-cut and trimmed to the right length for the width of the bus, and then I'll be able to go in and template and cut out the sheets for the wheel wells once we get to that point. Got my subfloor here all loaded up in our small Yukon, and it fits with only about a foot sticking over with the door down. It doesn't stick out that far.